Henriette Renie was a French harpist and composer who is known for her many original composition and transcription, as well as codifying a method for harp that is still used today. She was an exceptional instructor and contributed to the success of many students. Today, I will bring the treatise, Complete Method for Harp, wrote by Henriette Renie. Complete Method for Harp was first published on 1946 in Paris. It became a standard for harp technique and music, adapted by important harpists like Dian Yi and Susan MacDonald. In the treatise, there is a picture demonstrating how to sit at the harp. Now I'm gonna invite my friend, Millie, who has never played this instrument before, and we can experience together, and let's see what the treatise is telling us. Hi, Millie. Could you please follow what treatise told you, and then could you please show it to us?
Okay.
Now, Millie starts to learn how to play the harp by using the treatise. She is trying to imitate the lady who's playing the harp in the picture. While I look at it, I think this is not a good example. The way Millie's sitting doesn't appear free, symmetrical, or balanced. Her left foot looks too far from the pedals, which could make playing more difficult. This is how I sitting on the chair when I play the harp. My sitting bone is grounded to the chair, as my leg is grounded to the floor. My upper body is soft and tall. When I put the harp on me, I use my knee to support it instead of my shoulder. It creates the freedom between the instrument and my body, as well as my leg has the freedom to move for the pedal. Including an image in a treatise is generally a good idea. But the problem here is that someone using the book might assume this is the correct way to sit. For instance, if Millie was to look at the image and copy it exactly, she might end up sitting in a way that isn't optimate. From the Alexander technique perspective, I'm aiming to be more in balance, more in contact with the instrument, and maintain free primary control, which is only possible if my head is more alive on the spine rather than locked into position. In her treatise, Renie gives an important suggestion for practicing. She explained that when the finger, hand, and arm has made a false movement, and there may be a tendency to begin again, then one must undo, so to speak, before being able to redo correctly. This concept aligns closely with inhibition in Alexander technique. Inhibition, as Alexander defined it, it's about recognizing that we have a choice. Instead of reacting automatically, we can choose to stop and do something different. When we make a mistake, the key isn't to immediately force to correction, but rather to ask, what do I need to stop doing? By forcing on what not to do, change happens more easily. If we simply try to do something new without first releasing old habit, it can be free-forced and difficult. But when we first inhabit, pause, observe, and stop unnecessary tension, we create the space to move in a new and better way. This idea of undo before you redo is a powerful tool in both music practice and movement awareness. In this treatise by Renie, she mentions using eye beneficially. For replacing a note in the top register, which is too high for one to look at in advance, without interfering with what one is playing, she suggests looking at the same note an octave lower, which will give full security in order to play without looking. When I'm trying to look at the top register, I tend to move the body aside and turn my head in order to see the string. In contrast, when our head remains free and balanced on the spine, it allows for better primary control, meaning our movements become more fluid and coordinated. If we move our head in a way that interferes with our overall coordination, the kinesthetic sense, which is the sense of acceleration and deceleration, this sense becomes less reliable. In the Alexander technique, over-focusing the vision is always a mistake. In certain cases where it seems necessary to look two ways at once, Renie also suggests to glance a few moments in advance at the note to be caught. At either spot, the brain registers the movement to be made by the hand, and at the moment of placing, the eyes can easily look at the other hand. I will play a piece which will demonstrate how to play a big lip. When I do a big lip, from one position to another position, what Alexander technique mentioned is very important to see not just the string I'm going for, but the string in the context to the other strings. We need to expand our vision from two-dimensional, which is like a piece of paper, to three-dimensional, which is called width, height, and depth. It is important to see that because then your brain and your body work better when you see three dimensions. In the treatise, Renie discussed the distortion of the air when it comes to tempo and sonority. She provides a method to prevent this discrepancy between practice and performance, as well as advice on adjusting sonority in different environments. She also points out that the musicians often believe they are playing slower than actual tempo, but in the reality, they are playing much faster. What Renie described here closely related to the key concept in Alexander technique: faulty sensory prescription. The state of our sensory feedback when we feel we are doing something different to what we are actually doing. Our sensory feedback can be unreliable, which is why we might think we are playing at one tempo when, in fact, we are playing at different one. In the treatise, she talked about the only way to remedy the inconvenience, productive of accidents, and in any case harmful to the musicianship, is to accustom the air to a tempo slightly retarded. For example, a day before the concert, moving the metronome back one number, 5 days before, 2 number, and the day before, 3 or more according to the nervousness. The day of the concert, you will return to the exact tempo without knowing it. What she suggested is gradually adjusting the metronome leading up to a performance. I tried this by myself, and I find it's not really secured. When I get nervous, I tend to hold my breath, which is actually what caused me to lose the sense of pulse and tempo. If we struggle with understanding the pulse, I would suggest using read list as a way to regain clarity. Stop, see, breathe, soft and top. If your version is three-dimensional, taking you surrounding in a panoramic way, and if you are aware in your breathing, are you only breathing in your upper chest, or are you allowing your ribcage to move freely? Did you release your belly? Then you are much less likely to misunderstand pulse and the tempo change. Throughout the video, we have explored Renie treatise through the lens of Alexander technique, unpacking how our perception of movement, tempo, and sound can be unreliable. We have seen how principles like inhibition, direction, balance, and awareness can help us play with greater ease and control. Instead of simply trying harder or forcing correction, we can learn to pause, release the tension, and move with more freedom and confidence. By integrating those ideas, we can approach our playing with a greater sense of clarity, coordination, and ease.